Greetings everyone. So today we're working for Performance Heating and Air. Wyatt and I are in the shop today. We need to build up a couple of return air cans and a transition offset. So let's get started on that. So this can that we're building for the return is 16 1/4 tall by 30 1/4 wide. So it can get a 16 by 30 filter grill in it. So I need to add an inch for the Pittsburgh on this end. So the first mark will be 17 1/4. And then 30 1/4, that's 47 1/2. 47 1/2, and then I need a 1/4 inch to turn up for the bend to go into the Pittsburgh. So 47 3/4. Let's get that cut. So I got the pattern set. It's cut 24 3/4 tall. So the return can is going to be 24 inches deep, and then it'll have a 3/4 flange. And then we have our pattern going across at 47 3/4. So we have an inch for Pittsburgh, 16 1/4. Then we have 30 1/4, and another 1/4 on the end for the to go into the Pittsburgh. So let me scratch out the corners, or scratch out the edges. Quarter edge. Okay, I'm going to switch to half, and that'll be up on the end where the plug is going to go. That just will give me reference as to which side is which. And then 3/4. For flange on the bottom. And lastly, the 1 inch mark for the Pittsburgh. Now I'm going to use those marks, those scratch lines I put in, to notch out the corners. Make a notch here where we're going to fold it. Let's do the other one. This one, I like to put a notch right here where it's going to be folded also. So now I need to make a plug end for that 16 1/4 by 30 1/4. And to make the plugs, we have to add 2 inches all the way around. So we'll go 32 and a quarter. Or 30 and a quarter plus 2. And then we'll go 18 and a quarter. Or 16 and a quarter. 22. 18 and a quarter. And then we need another mark over here for the 32 and a quarter. All right, now I'm going to take my scratch tool. I'm going to put a 1-inch scratch all the way around one side of the sheet metal, and then I'll flip it over and I'll put a 1/2-inch scratch around the other side. And that gives us reference points for when we put it in the brake to bend up the plug. The next thing I need to do for the plug, these corners have to be 45'd off, and rather than measuring in and cutting them at, you basically want to cut it right off where that 1 inch intersects. On our stomp shear, I made I drew a pattern on there, and so you just have to put it up there and stomp it, and it's a lot easier than cutting it by hand. So let's go over there and do that. So on the stomp shear, I've got these lines drawn in, and so all you have to do is push the sheet metal in so it lines up on those lines, and then stomp, and it'll take that corner off at a 45. And there you go. Let me do that on the rest of the corners and we'll come back. All right, the first thing we have to do is run the Pittsburgh fold along this edge that I've marked 1 inch. And I'll show you what that looks like when it's done, but it allows that other 1/4 inch bend to hook into it and fold it over, and it connects the duct together. So let me run the Pittsburgh. That's the finished product on the Pittsburgh there. So at the other end of the sheet where it's a 1/4 inch bend, that 1/4 inch bend goes in there, and then we fold this little 1/4 inch that's left over out here over, and that closes up the ducting and seals up the ductwork. So the last fitting we have to do is just a straight offset, or a flat offset if you want to call it, I guess. It's going to be 19.5 inches across. It'll be 23.5 inches deep, 22 inches tall, and our offset is 5 3/4 of an inch. So let's start laying that out. So I'm going to start my pattern here and work this way. So on the left side of this pattern, I'll need a 1/4 inch scribe for a 1/4 bend on the left side of this offset, and then the bottom will have a 1/2 inch scratch for the SN drive. So let me get those two marked, and then we'll start the layout. Alright, so my pattern is 19.5 wide plus my 1/4 inch here, so we'll go out to 19 3/4. And then I need another 1/4 inch on this side of the pattern, so that'll make us at an even 20. And then this offset is only 22 inches tall, so I don't want to put a very big throat on each end of the offset. So I'm probably going to go with maybe a 2 inch at the most. Before 2 inches of straight, and then it'll offset, make its offset, and then it'll go 2 more inches. So let's mark that out. I got 2 inches. And then let's mark our 22 inch height. We'll get that line across. All right, so my offset's 5 3/4, so up here on my 22 inch high line, I'm going to come over 5 3/4. And then I need another 1/4 for that 1/4 inch. So that would make it 6. The other thing I need to do is I need to scribe another line 2 inches down for the throat on the other end of the sheet. So I'll make another line here at 20. So from my mark here for the offset, I went over 19.5 inches, and then I added another 1/4 inch here for the 1/4 bend. So now I'm going to tie in these lines on the offset, and you'll be able to see what it looks like. All right, I don't know if you're going to be able to see that, but so it's going to come up 2 inches, then I'll start offsetting and then straighten out, and same thing over here. So let's get that pattern cut out. There we go. Now I'm just going to copy this pattern that I made a minute ago. Alright. Let me cut that out. So the thing with offsets, if you lay out the pattern the same for both, when it gets folded up, it'll actually end up like that. So they need to be a mirror image of each other. So I put them together and then open them up. And then I'll just put an X here on the inside, so that way I know which side to have facing up when I lay out the pattern on the rest of it. So inside and inside. All right, so let me get my scratches around the rest of these, and then we'll notch it out. All right, I got the pattern all marked. So now I'm going to turn up the 1/4 inch bends. I'm going to turn those up now on both sheets. I've got the pattern all folded up. One of the things I didn't mention was if the offset was more radical, or I was really concerned about losing airflow, you would have to bring this edge up a little bit farther, so the measurement across this angled part is the same as across the flat. So this is such a slight offset that I didn't lose much measurement between what you see here on the offset versus what's on the bottom. All right, so now I need to make the side that goes up here and around. So this measurement from this point to this point is 18 3/4 inch. And then I need 2 inches here and 2 inches there, so 4 more inches. So we're gonna have 22 3/4 inch high, and then it's going to be 23.5 wide, but then I need to add 1 inch of Pittsburgh on each side. So it's going to be 25.5 by 22 3/4. So let's get those laid out. So on this project, we went with 1/2 inch insulation. Normally we would use a minimum of 1 inch, but these boxes are actually in conditioned space. The only reason we were putting insulation on the inside of the ducting is just to make it a little quieter, since these are return air cans that are going to have a filter grill going into them. So we just didn't want a lot of noise, air noise inside the box from that filter grill and the airflow. So we went with 1/2 inch insulation just to knock down the noise. And there is the finished offset. So this is what the finished process looks like. Wyatt went ahead and we call it buttering that edge of the insulation. so the fibers won't come apart, get in the airstream. So that is a perfectly constructed plenum there. So that wraps up the day in the shop. I always enjoy working in here with Wyatt, making up the metal, and it was a nice little break from the house building, and today the weather was crummy, so it worked out. And I want to say hi to Sierra. She's probably watching this video. And I want to thank you guys all for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.